Hello, everybody, and welcome in to another episode of the Couch GMs podcast. It is Thursday, January 30th, 2025. I'm your host, George Kurt, joined by the one and only Cody Roadcap. Cody, I appreciate the choice of green background given the circumstances.
I don't know if you saw, I hot swapped it. It was going to be blue this week. And I was like, you know what? For George and the Packers, I'm going green. And you know what? For the Jaguars and Mr. Liam Cohen, Duval.
I still think you did it better than he did. It was the most awkward thing in an opening press conference I might have ever seen.
It's my favorite thing. I have seen so many TikToks, Reels, Instagram stories about it. My wife's even like, she just hears the noise and she's like, Cody, change your algorithm, find something else.
The algorithm picks us. We don't pick the algorithm.
Exactly. And mine is all Duval.
Well, if you live in Duval or anywhere else, make sure you follow us on social media at the Couch GMs, Facebook, X, Instagram, and TikTok. Maybe that's your algorithm too. If it is, let us know in the comments or hit us in the DMs where you can ask us questions or whatever you want to say to us about the show. And watch us live Mondays and Thursdays at 6:30 East on Facebook and YouTube. Cody, why don't we catch up for missing Monday? Sit back, relax, and chat. One whole week ago, we sat here and talked about Liam Cohen doing this whole thing of ghosting the Buccaneers and not signing a contract and then thinking he was going to be the head coach of the Jaguars. As you got from that whole intro, he is the new head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I mean, it was a good move. It was just a very hectic how we got there and very Jaguars-like.
Yeah, but I think at the end of the day, you know, what's that saying? It's not how you start, it's how you finish. They were able to finish, and I think it's a great hire. I think it'll pay dividends for Trevor Lawrence. I like how he's worked with Baker the last couple of years, and now he's getting an opportunity to maybe revitalize Trevor Lawrence's career. Not a different team, but another regime. Get that back going, get that offense going. Pairing him with Brian Thomas Jr., I think will be good. Maybe even getting ETN back in the mix or a running back in the draft this year. I really do like the hire of Liam Cohen for the Jaguars.
We're right in step on that one because I was going to say he helped revitalize Baker Mayfield's career. And now, even though it's not a new team, Trevor Lawrence needs somebody there. Like, we forget that this guy had all the hype coming out of the draft and was a number 1 overall pick and has just basically been stuck in the mud for the last 2 seasons, season and a half, I'll say. They started off last season decent, but them getting a good offensive mind hopefully will turn them around, and they have some weapons around him. We'll see if he turns around Travis Etienne, can use Tank Bigsby, Evan Ingram, who has honestly looked fantastic there. He just hasn't had a lot of help around him, and we'll see what he brings in on the defensive side because that's been a struggle for them as well.
Yeah, and just note, we talked a lot about Trent Baalke and him coming in and, giving big contracts to guys like Christian Kirk and Gabe Davis, who were solid players, but not elite. And they continue to be solid players, not elite. Christian Kirk more so than Gabe Davis in his 1 year in Jacksonville, but they don't have a GM now. Liam Cohen's going to be a part of that GM process, which they expect to have done sometime in February. So they can start preparing for the draft. So looking for how that partnership brews and helps, revitalize the Jaguars because they're eventually going to go to London if they don't start doing something here in the States.
I mean, I heard there's a stadium brewing in the Jacksonville area, so I don't know if that's going to happen. That would be insane to build the stadium and then move to London anyway. So
I don't think realistically they're going to London anytime soon outside of their 2 games a year.
Yes. Well, yeah, because they always end up playing an away game and a home game. I was about to say they do have the contract of 1 home game in London per year that's continuing. So we'll see how long that goes. Moving out west to Vegas, where maybe one of the surprise hires. Welcome back to the coaching ranks, Pete Carroll. May all the gum in Las Vegas be safe.
What about I saw this on X, but what about Tom Brady? Obviously, he's a minority owner, but sounds like he has a big part in this whole situation. Hiring the coach that decided to throw the ball instead of running the ball in the Super Bowl for him. But
You see,
honestly,
Pete had this foresight of like, I'm going to get another head coaching job if I just let Tom win this.
but maybe if he won the second one, he would not feel like he has to coach again. But honestly, in terms of this hire, I think another solid hire for Las Vegas. I think, I think I talked about this when we heard the speculations and the rumors last week, but Pete Carroll, he's obviously going to be the oldest head coach ever this season, but he's a culture guy. He knows about winning, and I think he can come in, bring the energy still, and help put this Raiders team on a clear path. And then maybe he steps away in 2 or 3 years and hands it off to somebody else on the staff, or like someone else to continue that. He only signed a 3-year contract. And I think that's,
Yeah.
obvious of, most coaches are getting 5 and 6 year deals. He gets a 3, and you can kind of see, hey, we're going to let him be the guy that helps build a winning culture here in Las Vegas. And then when he's ready to step away, let him help hand over the keys on who will take him to the even further. And maybe they'll shock people and, be a playoff contender in the next 2 to 3 years with him still there.
Yeah, and maybe this is idealistic, but I like what you said about like handing the keys off to somebody in the staff. I wouldn't be shocked if they end up having a head coaching candidate on that staff in the next 2 to 3 years if you see them hang around, because maybe they become the next head coach after Pete Carroll. So maybe you have a little incentive. You'll see them dangle like an assistant head coach tag to a coordinator at some point if they expect him to be able to take over when Carroll's done.
Yeah, and then the other one that we have to talk about for head coaching hiring since we last chatted. I know this one broke last weekend as well, but we missed our Monday show. Sorry about that. But the Cowboys promoted OC Brian Schottenheimer to head coach and brought in Matt Eberflus to be their defensive coordinator. So
At least Flus isn't calling timeouts, right?
yeah, that's a solid, and that might be the only solid of these two moves. Maybe it'll surprise me, but I just don't see the Brian Schottenheimer hire. I know they said that they were looking for a defensive guy to keep Schottenheimer around because of his relationship with Dak Prescott. So they're doubling down on that contract they gave him. Maybe it'll work out because there is some talent in Dallas. If they want to be active in free agency, people want to come play in Dallas. But we're also on a path of a second questionable offseason, and we haven't even gotten to free agency yet.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't think Flus as a defensive coordinator is really that bad of a move. But I think there's just a really bad taste in everyone's mouth because of how bad his head coaching tenure was in Chicago. But there's a much different, thing that happens when you're a coordinator versus a head coach. The Schottenheimer thing, though, that's just what gets me. I think they were decent on offense. I don't think he was on anybody's radar. It seems like a very Jerry move to bring up the guy or bring in the guy that's either going to be the yes man or he had some deep personal relationship with. It's just right along with how they always do things. Maybe if he has a decent offensive coordinator to help him out and take a little bit of pressure off on the offensive side of the ball, he'll be successful. But I won't lie, I hadn't heard he was even their OC until I heard that they promoted him. And I just thought of like his dad's name is the only reason I recognized the name.
Yeah, and it's always interesting when you get a head coach who doesn't call plays. So he might be a first-time head coach, first-time offensive play caller. Maybe he hands it off. I guess if you're a Cowboys fan and you're trying to spin this in any which way that you can on why this was a good move, you think back to the Cowboys 2024 season. They started off real rough. There was talks about Mike McCarthy getting let go mid-season, and then he got the team to turn around. How much of that was the team? How much that was Mike McCarthy? And if what had happened that season at the middle of the point, they were like, Mike, thank you for your service. We're going to move on, and name Schottenheimer the interim head coach. And then the team turns around and finishes the season like they did with him as the head coach, as the interim. We're probably like, yeah, they should keep the interim guy around, kind of like we saw with Antonio Pierce last year. So,
yep.
Although that was a one and done thing, so might not play out for the best, but I guess that could kind of be your glimmer of hope on why this might be a good hire and not just Jerry Jones doing whatever Jerry Jones wants to do.
And the offensive side of the ball for them was better than the defense. So if you're talking about just coaching your section of the team, he did better than the defensive side. So we'll see how it works out for the Cowboys.
Yep. And we just talked about Mike McCarthy, who was the former Cowboys head coach. He was in the running for the Saints job, but he decided to drop out and focus on the 2026 coaching hiring cycle, which makes a ton of sense because nobody really wants the Saints jobs because everyone knows how much of a cap situation they're going to be in. There's not a ton of pieces out there. You have the Derek Carr question marks. But guys like Kellen Moore, who is coaching with the Eagles in the Super Bowl, seems to be the front runner for this one. And at this point, there's no one else they're competing with, so they can wait till after the Super Bowl to make that hire. Mike Kafka, the offensive coordinator for the Giants, is another name, which is just, I know he is an up and coming young head coach that has a lot of respect, but with how that Giants offense looks, it's kind of interesting. And same with defensive coordinator Anthony Weaver for the Dolphins. Same thing. Wasn't the best year for their defense, but he is an up and coming name. So looks like they're going to have to go with a first timer just to someone to come in and get that job. Uh, but I still don't think I'd rule out Darren Rizzi coming back. I know that hasn't been talked about a ton. There was rumors that he would join Dennis Allen again and Ben Johnson in Chicago. But if Kellen Moore falls through, I think there is a chance that Darren Rizzi could come back and be the full-time head coach. That's just a gut feeling.
Hmm.
I have seen nothing about that on the internet, but that's kind of where my gut's leaning as the surprise that breaks Sunday morning of the Super Bowl.
And if they can convince them to do it, that might be their thing. I feel like even more so, you're either going to get a young guy who's going to take a shot on a team just because, like, oh, this is my chance to be a head coach, and then you hope you succeed, or they're going to have to convince somebody because, like you said, their situation is horrible. I still think there's a chance that Kellen Moore backs out and decides to stay in Philly, being like, I'll be successful as offensive coordinator here for another year or two, and then maybe get a better opportunity because he's been in head coaching cycles in the past. Weaver and Kafka have just kind of popped up here, and they're not names that got a lot of clout in the other teams interview process because I think the top end candidates picked the better situations. So I don't remember if I put the Saints at the bottom or not in that, but now looking back, yeah, that it's not a very exciting job for a head coach to take, and bringing in a first timer is going to be their only option probably, and it might not work out well just because they're not going to have what they need to succeed.
Yeah, and I guess I'll do the same thing for Saints fans out there stressing out. Uh, you know, we're the last one. What's happening here? I'll just say, remember, the Philadelphia Eagles missed out on their guy and ended up with Nick Sirianni.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I know Eagles fans do not like and wanted him fired after last year, but he is now in his second Super Bowl in 3 years. So unlike Ricky Bobby, you're not first, you're last. Sometimes being the last person and getting the right fit, right guy isn't the end all be all in the NFL.
I'll double you down on that. The last head coaching hire in last year's cycle was Dan Quinn. A little bit of a different situation, veteran head coach for Washington, who just made it to the NFC Championship game.
Yep.
Not always the worst situation.
Right. So maybe someone will turn around, but they're going to take some time. They're going to have to eventually blow this thing up, get their cap situated, do like a Denver, $90+ million of dead cap, and pay the piper and try to rebuild and get somebody in there that can do that. So they're the only team left that needs a head coach. So just a quick recap of where we stand. Mike Vrabel is the head coach of the New England Patriots. Ben Johnson, the head coach of the Chicago Bears. Aaron Glenn, head coach of the New York Jets. We talked about Liam Cohen and Pete Carroll in the Jacksonville Jaguars, Las Vegas Raiders, and Brian Schottenheimer to Dallas. Any of those stand out to you? Anything else you want to add about either of these guys, or want to keep rolling through?
No, I think we kind of talked about all of them as they broke out, and we'll see how long it takes for the New Orleans news to break. I'm good to move on to the NFL. Said that they were happy with their first year of dynamic kickoffs. Kickoffs rose somewhere in the 40-45% range this year. So we did definitely see more action. It took some getting used to. I don't know if it's the perfect solution, but it definitely at least helped make things more exciting.
I want to know what they're looking at. I thought the dynamic kickoff was terrible. I think the only reason they're happy with it because the ball got closer, so points were slightly up.
Well, and there was less injuries is what they're going to really hang their hat on, because I mean, the big thing that they were saying is they wanted to reduce injuries on kickoffs, which is why they made it basically an automatic touchback. And then this was the only way that they were able to, change that is by special teams coordinators saying like, but if they only start 10 yards apart, they're not going to get hurt as much.
Yeah. So it looks like it's here to stay. And some of us are upset by that. And some of us will be happy about that. And we'll see if that continues, if they do any other tweaks or changes to the rules this offseason to update the onside kick to a 4th and 15.
I just
Those
want
are
to
the
see an onside kick update of some sort because it doesn't make sense the way they do it now.
Yeah, it doesn't really make sense to I don't know what the answer is though, because like I feel like with the Dans, Campbell and Quinn, you give them 4th and 15 at the same spot they kick off at, they're doing that every time.
Could you imagine? And the
I would,
Lions have not kicked off the ball ever the entire season.
but like, why wouldn't you? Like, you're only giving the ball to like 10 yards closer than you would get it if you kick it short of the landing zone or whatever. Like,
Yeah, I'm interested to see where they would line them up on the field if they did that.
it would have to be like at the other team's 25. So you'd have to go essentially 75 yards to score. I feel like that makes the most sense.
Yeah,
And then if you
exactly.
turn the ball over, it's played like a 4th down. So you get
Mhm.
8 yards, they get the ball 8 yards from the 25, incomplete, they get the ball at the 25, which will put them in field goal range
Yeah.
automatically. So none of those rules have been proposed yet. And once we get past the Super Bowl and into winter meetings, and which is more of a baseball term, but the NFL does have those as well, we'll start hearing more rules. But it sounds like the dynamic kickoff is here to stay.
Yes, it does. Why don't we move on to, because we missed Monday's show, a really quick recap of the games from this previous weekend. Starting off with the NFC Championship, Commanders at Eagles, and the Eagles putting up a NFC Championship record 55 points.
Yeah. I mean, they were the better team. The Commanders, you
Mhm.
know, their success came to an end. They played a little bit tight. I think they lost the game when they took the momentum. I mean, they lost the game after the Saquon Barkley one play touchdown after the 18 play. We go for it twice on 4th down, but we're not going to kick it on. We're going to kick it on 4th and 2 in the red zone, like
Mhm.
that, and then we give up a play. The game was over at that point. People are going to talk about officiating. People are going to talk about this and that, but the Philadelphia Eagles, I've been saying it, they have the best roster top to bottom of anybody in the NFL this year. And it was proven on Sunday that Commanders, they came in there. And I think also hurt them that the Commanders talked so much after they, came back and beat which is their division rival. They have every right to. But, Jalen Hurts also didn't have to do much. Their offensive line carried them down the game. Like, were you ever stressed? I know it was 14-12 at one point, but were you ever scared?
I mean, I was scared on the first drive when I'm like, they're moving the ball. They weren't moving the ball easily, but they're moving the ball. I think the time I was the most stressed was at 14-12. But I think the big reason that Washington lost, and I kind of just, cycle from there, turnovers again. Like the Eagles defense has been the best in the league, at least in the last 2-3 months of forcing turnovers. And then they have not turned the ball over yet in the playoffs. They're the first team to reach the Super Bowl without committing a turnover. Like there's something to be said about that. Seems to be what's driving success in this year's playoffs because the Chiefs are very similar.
Yeah, they had one, and it was
They had one and they forced a couple.
yeah. So honestly, I think we'll talk about the Super Bowl all next week, but I think the turnovers are going to play a key factor. Can they both still play clean? Can they overcome them? How's it all going to shake out? But yeah, Eagles dominated. Wasn't much of a game, and they get to go on to the Super Bowl for the second time in 3 years.
And then for the third time in 3 years, going for the three-peat, Bills at Chiefs. The Chiefs pull out another close one. I had thoughts that Josh Allen was going to do it. Josh Allen had the opportunity, getting the ball back with 3.5 minutes left, only down, but down by less than a score. But he didn't have what he needed around him to pull it off. And at this point, it seemed like at the offensive line. The Chiefs did a great job of scheming up pressures that they couldn't cover, and Josh Allen had to basically play hero ball without trying to play hero ball, just running 10 yards backwards and throwing up a heave.
I mean, they definitely got him in a obscure look on that fourth down call. We can argue. I mean, it looked like Kincaid was going to catch that one.
It was
I
a
don't know.
prayer regardless, even though I thought Kincaid should have caught it. I'm not going to blame Kincaid for dropping it.
I mean, he definitely dropped it. So, and it would have been a first down, but that doesn't matter. Like you said, they just couldn't get it done. Fourth time they've lost to Josh Allen's lost to the Chiefs in the playoffs. You know, tough thing. How will they do? I know they're not in the best cap situation either. We all thought this year was going to be their down year. I'm done betting against Josh Allen to get them to the playoffs. But I said this, I think I texted our group chat. I know people are tired of the Kansas City Chiefs winning and all that good stuff, but I'm not tired. And I know it's been lopsided in the playoffs, but I'm not tired of Chiefs Bills in the playoffs. So I hope these teams get another rematch next year.
Yeah, because even though you've been saying like the Chiefs have been the only team that's won in the playoffs, Josh Allen has them there every single time. And I'm waiting for that time. There's going to be a time eventually where Josh Allen gets it. I'd be surprised if him and Mahomes went their entire career and Allen never beats Mahomes in the playoffs. Maybe it's 10 years from now. Maybe it's 5 years from now. Maybe it's next year. You never know. But there's going to be a time with how these games have been going that Josh Allen's going to finally get it, at least get Mahomes. So I want to keep seeing it because they've been entertaining games every single time.
Yeah. And shout out to the Chiefs, you know, getting the job done again, putting up their highest output on the season in terms of total points. Like they had
First time they broke 30 and they're going into the Super Bowl. Can you believe that?
First time they scored more than 30. They got to fix how they word these stats because they scored 30 twice. It's more than 30. So, but that doesn't matter. And also things they need to correct and fix is I know everyone's talking about they're going to be the first team to three-peat, and they need to add on to that three-peat Super Bowls because the Packers have three-peated twice. They won the year before the merger, then they won Super Bowl I and Super Bowl II. Last I checked, that's 1, 2, 3. And they did it in the 30s as well. So, you know, respect your history. First team to three-peat Super Bowls, but not the first team to three-peat in general.
And we've seen a couple of times where teams had opportunities or were close to three-peating but couldn't. So this is the first time in a while we've seen a team going for the three-peat, but like we had the idea of like if the Patriots beat the Eagles in 2017, it would have been a three-peat. Like so, it's really rare air that we're going into this game.
It would have been a three-peat if they won because they won the year before and the year
before and after.
They weren't going for a three-peat in that situation.
They weren't going for a three-peat in that game, but it turns out if they would have won that, they would have three-peated.
Oh, but can't get past Nick Foles.
Can't get past Nick Foles.
And Chiefs, Eagles, it's going to be a good Super Bowl. Real quick to do a mini Super Bowl preview. We're going to break down this game more than you're going to want to listen to and talk. But two things of interesting note: Brandon Graham, defensive end, has talked that this is going to be his last hurrah. Has been out with a torn tricep. They're activating his 21-day practice window, and he could be back for the Super Bowl. And that would be, you know, a key piece. He made, you know, some big plays in that last Super Bowl as well. So would be a nice piece back. And then Sky Moore, 21-day practice window opened up for him. And I don't know how big of a deal that is, but the only thing I can think of about this Sky Moore is like, will he be this year's Mecole Hardman? You know, Mecole signs with the Jets, finally comes back, doesn't do much, but ends up catching the game-winning Super Bowl pass. Like, could that be a Sky Moore? Does he do something similar to what Samaje Perine did? And, you know, his first catch was first play, target, rush attempt, whatever. First time touching the ball in the game against the Bills was the first down to seal the deal. Like, that's where I think you have to watch out for Sky Moore. Not consistently, but that one play. Does he make it? Does he not? Does he even get activated? Both these guys have to be activated, but he was limited in practice this week. So there's a good chance he is good to go.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to know a lot more from seeing him in practice, but I question how much Sky Moore would get on the field or be involved if he even does. You're going to throw a guy who's been out the entire season into the biggest game of the year. I mean, they've had some more success from the wide receiver position. It's almost not like it's a emergency anymore. They definitely could use more production, but they've been better. So I could see him getting 5-10 routes. I don't think he's going to be super involved. But you're right, that one play could be all it needs. When it comes to Brandon Graham, like I think again, he's going to be rotational 5-10 plays, but he only needs that one too. Tom Brady, just ask him. I think he's calling the game, right?
Yeah, he is. Tom Brady
Yeah,
knows a
there you
lot about
go.
Brandon Graham. I was
Tom
gonna
Brady will
say
know exactly when Brandon Graham enters the game for the first time.
for sure. I was gonna say that, but I couldn't remember if it was him or Derek Barnett because I'm not, an Eagles fan. Who got that
Barnett
last
recovered
sack?
it. So,
Barnett. I knew they were one of the, so I didn't
mhm.
want to bring it up, but I'm glad you did. But yeah, I mean, but that's just the Chiefs in general. Like, I completely forgot Juju Smith-Schuster was on their team, but he had two 35 plus yard receptions out of nowhere
Yeah.
against the
I was
Buffalo
all
Bills.
in on the Hollywood Brown bandwagon when he got activated, and apparently he got used in 2 regular season games and has barely touched the ball since. But Juju Smith-Schuster's back.
Yeah, so I will say this. I know there's a lot of people out there that don't want either of these teams. They're, I've seen the memes where they're hoping for a meteor strike, hoping for the scene in Batman Dark Knight where the stadium collapses in on itself. Like, I get all that, but the last time, 2 times these teams played, it was a great Super Bowl. I expect this one to be a great Super Bowl, and we can talk all about that next week.
As a reminder, Cody and I are with you Mondays and Thursdays. And that's no exception next week. We're going to do something a little bit fun on Monday, and then we're going to talk all Super Bowl on Thursday.
Exactly. And speaking of fun, if you didn't know, the Pro Bowl games are started tonight. They're going to do the thing where they throw
Woo!
the balls at target.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson has now been an alternate Pro Bowl member, so that just goes to show where we're at the Pro Bowl. But it is called the Pro Bowl games now, so we thought, why don't we try playing some games? We did this in the off season. This will be our first time doing it live. So you want to help with answers in the chat, we can do that. We got 3 games lined up. We'll see if we get to all of them as the time permits. George, do you want to talk about Weddle, which is our first game, as I start to, share my screen?
Sure thing. So, if any of you out there played Sporkle back when that was all the craze, Weddle is
Wordle.
very similar. Oh, you're right. My
I
bad.
got you.
Wordle. Thank you. Um, Weddle is a game where we will guess NFL players and it'll give us clues as to who the actual guy is. Things like age, jersey number, team, conference, division, I think is on there too. And then
Yes.
height. I think I named all the things that it shows. And we're
Number.
going to use all those things to figure out if we can guess the player that it wants us to guess for today.
Yeah, and Best Buds is not a sponsor of this. I just can't clear the ads. We're on a web page. Either is
Cool.
Weddle, or Sephora.
Or
So just
Sephora.
everyone knows that. And Weddle, there's 2 rounds. First round is the easy mode, offense only. The hard mode is everybody, offense, defense, special teams. George, in honor of the Super Bowl, give me a random Chief or Eagle offensive player.
I'm going to take it easy on you and not have you type for the first one. We're going to do AJ Brown because he's right at the top of the screen.
All righty. So not much help. AJ Brown. We know it's not a Philadelphia Eagles. So it's not in the NFC East. We know it's not a wide receiver, and he's older than 27.
Okay.
You want to try Mr.
So
Travis
I'm
Kelce?
thinking that it's not even NFC because they didn't have the division yellow.
I'm thinking that too. Thanks for pointing that out.
Thank
So
you.
yellow means you're close. Green means you got it. So why don't we go to the Chiefs side?
Slightly older player on the Chiefs.
Slightly older. So I was going to go with Travis Kelce, but he's like 8 years older.
Mm-hmm.
What about one Mr.
Juju?
Patrick Mahomes?
Okay,
He's 29.
Mahomes. We'll go Mahomes. Yeah.
And nope. So he's 28 years old. We know that.
Okay.
And we know he's
not
in
that
the
I
AFC.
memorize ages, so that doesn't help a ton. But we know the general.
Yeah, and we know it's either a running back or a tight end.
And he's in the AFC.
And his number is higher than 15, which doesn't help too much. But let's run through some
8-year-old tight ends
or running backs.
or running back. For whatever reason, I was thinking Evan Ingram, but I think he's older than that.
I feel like his number 7. So his
Oh,
number.
you're right. It used to be double digits, not anymore.
I actually thought about Evan Ingram as well. So then I was starting to go down like the tight end thing. Like, is Dalton Schultz 28? He could be.
He could be. It's not a bad guess, and he wears a number in the 80s.
Let's just try that. Because we'll get a opportunity to see what's going on here. I think we have a comment too. So maybe Dalton Schultz is 28. I nailed this.
He is too tall, and it is not the right division.
Oh, I completely forgot about height. So it's a running back, or
it's got to be a running back.
It's got to be a running back that's 28 years old, but he's also kind of he's not tall because he's under 6 foot. So it's definitely
he's under 6'1" at least. Yes.
Well, it's not even yellow, so he's probably under 6 foot. So he's probably like 5'9", 5'10".
Yeah, you're right. Short 28-year-old running backs in the AFC.
And
it would either be north or east.
Yeah, so it would be north or east. So Raheem's too old.
Ramondre Stevenson?
He might be. He's on his second contract, I believe. Let's try him.
Yeah.
We got the position.
That's better.
So we know it's a running back, and we know it's the north.
Najee Harris is an option.
But it's higher than 38. Could this be a fullback? No. Is Patrick Ricard under 6 foot? No.
He's no way. And I think he's older than 28.
And he's also wrong there too. Fullback. So this would be So running back in the 40s or like 39. There has to be a one. All right, let's go through this. The north, you got Jalen Warren.
Is it Justice Hill?
He's 43. It could be. Did you just pull it out? Justice Hill. It is not Justice Hill.
Oh, man.
He's 27, but we got the north, and it's less than 43. So we're looking at 40, probably 42 because it's yellow.
It's amazing to me you can get closer than that with a running back.
So, all right. So let's take a quick second. Let's think about this. I don't think it's anyone on the Browns off the top of my head because their running backs are
Jerome Ford.
He's too young. Nick Chubb.
Nick Chubb's too old, I believe.
What number is Zach Moss? I feel like it's in the 20s, but
it could be.
Well, let's see. We have we're in guess 5 of 8. Do we want to go Moss to see if it's that eliminates the Bengals? Gives us 2 teams.
Go Moss. Because we have not gotten the team. Okay, Zach Moss doesn't exist. That's cool.
Okay. Maybe because he's technically a free agent. I don't know.
That's weird.
All right.
So it's not Zach Moss. Good job. What number did Chase Brown wear?
30, but he's in his second year.
You're right.
But he's not 28.
So we're going to rule out the Bengals. It's not the Ravens. So the Steelers, what numbers does Jalen Warren wear?
I
think he's too young too, but
yeah, he's still on his rookie deal.
Yeah,
I mean, he could have been an older rookie. Wow, we're struggling on easy mode. Let's see.
This has got to be the most obscure running back.
You know what? I'm almost and Warren. I feel like is like 37 or I don't think he's 40 or 42.
I don't know how close you have to be on number to get.
You want to just guess Jalen Warren?
Yes, Warren. So at least we'll know it's the team.
So it's not Jalen Warren.
And it's not the team. So the team has to be the Browns.
The Browns, or could it be the Bang? Like, is there somebody on the Bengals that we're not thinking of? Like, who was the backup for the
Khalil Herbert?
Could it be Khalil Herbert? I don't think it's him. I feel like he's 34, the number, not the age.
Yeah.
And I feel like he was traded. He was still on his rookie deal in Chicago. We
So I
have two
think we're
guys.
between Khalil Herbert, who I don't think it is either. Don't think there's any way it's Chase Brown.
What about
And then go ahead.
is Deontay Foreman on the Browns?
Maybe.
So like I'm kind of scared to guess. So we only have one guess left, but he's taller than 6 foot.
Is he?
Deontay. Well, he is a weird thing.
Yeah.
So
on
it's
Cleveland.
So that's huge. So at least we know he's on Cleveland. Holy, he's 5. He's the same age. So Cleveland running backs. Jerome Ford is 34, right?
Yeah, so it's got to be Jerome Ford, right?
No, he's 34. That's his number.
Yeah.
Right. And Demetric Felton, is he still on that team?
If they have Demetric Felton on this, we deserve to win from guessing this close this long.
Like who is 40 on that team? And when I say 40, I mean the number.
The number 40, because it's not Nick Chubb.
If you're in the chat and you happen to Google it and throw it in the chat, I'm not going to be mad. If you're listening at home and you're like, guys, it's clearly this player, well, send us a DM. Great way to start.
Actually, just send us a comment.
Deonta Foreman is not it. Man, I thought I was so good when I pulled that one.
That was really good.
I literally can't think of any other running backs. It has to
Chubb,
be a rookie.
Ford, and Felton are the other 3, I believe.
I know it's none of them. Ford's too young. Chubb is number 24.
Yeah.
He's probably the age. And then, or close to it.
I think Felton's too young.
He is. He's definitely
Is Ford older than we think? I think he's got to be the closest one.
All right, look, I promise you it's not Jerome Ford, but we can just figure out who it is so we can move on to the hard mode, which, heck, maybe we can't even pick Jerome Ford. Maybe it doesn't have free agents. So we can't even pick Jerome Ford.
Maybe it's because he's on IR. Actually thinking about it, that might be when Zach Moss wasn't on there.
Could be. Or they're free agents on this one. We got one guess left.
Type in Felton. I just want to see if he pops up even.
Okay.
No.
Nope. No Chubb either.
Should I go to our comment section? Pierre Strong? No? That was a good guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's not giving me the option to type in Pierre Strong unless I'm normally. I know
that's got to be how you spell it. So the only person left that I know that's on that roster is Chubb, and there's no way because his number's not there. That's not his number. His number's 24.
Well, and I can't even use him.
Yeah, now when you type in Nij.
Thank you. Like Nick. I don't know why X got hit too, but
yeah, Chubb's not there either. What other running backs did they end up on their roster with all the injuries? Because it's...
Yeah, I have no idea. I don't even know who to guess.
No.
Any guesses? Like, or should I just look it up?
Man, look it up at this point. I'm out of Browns running backs. I did everything I could.
Have you ever heard of this guy?
Never. That's screwed up. Who is John Kelly?
According to ESPN, he was taken in the 6th round of the 2018 draft out of Tennessee. He did not record a single stat in the 2024 season. He has a 32 carries and 96 yards at one. So that's crazy.
That is absolutely crazy. I've never seen it have someone that obscure. And just to answer Brandon in the chat here, wasn't Kareem Hunt on the team at one point? I don't think that was this year, and he's currently on the Chiefs, so it would count as current team.
All right.
Important to know as we go into hard mode.
All right. So let's start the same process. We'll start with Super Bowl teams. I'm going to go Jalen Carter.
Okay.
Okay. Well, we know
nailed the division.
That's something. And offense, because there's or special teams.
Okay.
And he's older than 23, but less than number 98. So,
and he's not on the Eagles. So we got Giants, Cowboys, Commanders.
Yeah. So do we have like maybe let's try to go like running back or something that, in the 30s kind of
taller than 6'3". How tall is Brian Robinson?
I don't know about
it's
that.
Close to 23 in age, but it's older. I think he'd
What
probably be
about
24.
Pitts? I know he's
the
been
wrong division.
Oh, it's in the East. Sorry.
It's in the East.
Oh, you said Brian Robinson. I heard Bijan
Brian Robinson.
That's why I went to the Falcons. All right, I'll try it. Brian Robinson. He's 30. So we know it's the Washington. We know it's the running backs. We know he's 25.
No, it's not running back. It's offense, though.
It's offense.
Yeah.
25, older or no, bigger than number 8, taller than 6'1". So is it their tight end?
25 or tight end at age 25?
Jake Bates.
Not a kicker.
That's not what I meant. What's the tight end's name?
Type in Bates again. John Bates.
Okay, so it's not a tight end either. Bro.
He's too old.
It's Jaden Daniels.
No way.
Yeah, Jaden Daniels 25.
The number's not right.
Oh, it's higher than...
It's higher than 8.
Higher than... What number is he? 1?
5.
5, you're right. Okay.
His idol growing up was Donovan McNabb. Fun fact of the day.
No, he gets to play for the same team as him, so... All right, let's see.
So we're at offensive lineman or...
Oh, I forgot. It can... No, there's... Well, I guess it could be an offensive lineman.
Offensive lineman or wide receiver at age 25. He's tall, so I'm assuming it's probably going to be an offensive lineman and really mess us up. Sam Cosmi.
I was going to go there too. Please. Woo!
Oh, man.
So, I don't know what Daily Pro Bowl is. Do you want me to click on it since we're
doing sure, go for it. What we got?
Year 2007. Oh, gosh.
Eric Weddle.
Okay. Not an option. All right.
Is that how you spell?
I don't know. Adrian Peterson. I saw NFC North. Look at me go. Running back. And age is higher than 20. I guess the age that he was in there. 2000. And they don't give us numbers. That stinks. That's my favorite one to use.
Brett Favre.
No.
Not 2007 would be Rodgers at that point already?
Yeah.
Rodgers, then.
Wait. Hang on. Rodgers was drafted in 2004, started in 2006. 2007 he would have been on the Vikings, so we can try Rodgers.
Rodgers wasn't a Pro Bowler. Okay.
Oh, so it's Pro Bowlers.
Yeah.
That also helps, I guess.
NFC North, not Vikings.
NFC North, not Vikings.
Offense, not running back.
Okay. No.
What are you thinking here?
I'm just thinking of different players from different teams. Like
Packers wide receivers in 2007. You can do this.
Dude, I'm failing. I'm failing. Oh, here, I'm gonna cheat. I'm gonna go Al Harris.
It
So
is
we know
Green
it's
Bay.
so we know it's a Green Bay Pro Bowler in 2007.
Who's older than age 33? Are we sure?
Oh, should have listened to you the first time. So Rodgers was drafted in 06.
Don't say I wasn't right.
Well, yeah, 07. That makes sense. Okay.
Anyway, that was fun.
All right. So next game, even tougher. It's called the Immaculate Grid. I'm gonna go ahead and bring that up right now. George, you want to explain how it works?
We've had very much luck with the Immaculate Grid before. So, the Immaculate Grid, I'm sure you've seen these kind of pop up on social media as well. It gives us a grid. There's going to be statistics or teams on the tops of the grid. So, for this example, in the top left corner, you have Jaguars and Rams. They would have to have existed on both of those teams. I think they says on the bottom they must have played in a regular season or playoff game for that team. We're just trying to find crossovers between the teams or stats that it has on the grid. So there's a Green Bay Packers on here that hopefully gives us a little bit of advantage on that middle column.
I think it will.
Anywhere you want to start?
So let's see. So how this game works is, one, you want to clear the grid. The second part is you want to try to get more obscure guys to get a higher point total. How do you want to play? Do you want to play just let's clear the grid, or do you want to try to go for oddball names? And I'll ask because Jalen Ramsey in the top left corner screams out to me. Ram, Jaguar, that trade happened. We all remember it. Do we want to just go there to get on the board, or do we want to try for something a little bit more difficult?
We can try for something a little more difficult where we can think of multiple people like Allen Robinson.
Ooh, Allen Robinson. Okay. I feel like this is risky because did he actually play for the Rams? I don't remember. I mean, I knew he did, but I meant that as in like, did he actually?
Yes, he did. I was confident. No, I normally like just trying to clear the grid because we're going to get to a point where it's like, do we know a Jaguar or Texan crossover, for example?
All right. Oh my God. We need this Clay Matthews.
You forgot there's 3 Clay Matthews.
70%. I thought that would be a little, my bad.
1,000-yard receiver on the Rams.
Like, I feel like we could say Puka.
Is it more rare to go like Brandon Cooks?
Yeah, or I was going to say probably Brandon Cooks. You want to go with him? Dude,
nice,
it took
3%.
a second. It took a second. I was like, did he not get 1,000 yards with them?
There was no way. He was really good up until recently. So,
all right, Falcons, Jaguars. That one's going to be tough because
this one's definitely going to be tough.
Jaguars, Texans. I feel like they switch people, so that one might not be
comments up as we go here. Should have done Bortles on the.
You're right. We should have done. We could have did Bortles for Packers, Rams.
Yeah. Oh well. Jags, Falcons. That's a tough one.
Yeah, so we could get, let's get the 1,000-yard receivers out of the way.
Okay. Falcons 1,000-yard receivers. I mean, there's plenty of options.
Here, this one, Randall Cobb.
Let's get the 1,000-yard receivers out of the way. Just kidding. Let's pick Randall Cobb.
I don't care that was 58%. Whatever.
That's probably going to be a tough one.
Falcons, Jags is easy. Can't be said.
Texans 1,000-yard receivers probably got less options because they're a franchise that hasn't been around as long. Andre Johnson's the easy pick.
I feel like it might be better for him than going what's his name? DeAndre Hopkins. So
that's true.
Falcons, George, you're gonna have to think about these because the Falcons Packer one's gonna drive me crazy until I can figure that out.
Yeah, it's a great one.
You're so much help.
Yeah.
And then Kepi's in here saying Falcons Jags is easy. And I feel like it is. I feel like there's probably a big name that we're missing because it happens every time we play this game. Now that there's people watching, it makes it even worse.
He's gonna let
But
us sweat it out too.
just trying to think of like who do the Jacksonville Jaguars pay a lot of money to?
Not Christian
That
Kirk.
not Christian Kirk.
Oh, Calvin Ridley.
Oh, you're right. See, that's what we're talking about. Calvin Ridley.
Yeah.
Probably 95% people said that. Although he was only a Jaguar for 1 year. Nope, that didn't matter.
Yeah, less
Calvin
than
Ridley.
50%. I'll take it.
Yeah, it's a lot better.
Let me know when you want a hint. Kemvy's over here just
But he was probably going to put like DraftKings in the, not a sponsor, but DraftKings in the comments, and then we would have figured it out.
yeah, right.
So
Um,
I don't know if he played a regular season game officially, or if he was just on the practice squad. And that's what sucks about this game
What's the
for
name? I might be able to help you.
Kevin King for the Packers Falcons. And he got an interception in the preseason. I know that for a fact. That's not regular season. And
I would hope that him getting an interception in the preseason got him at least one snap in the regular season. All he needs is one snap
he was a practice squad player. So it would have been, he would have been called up for game day.
and gotten one snap.
So if we can't come to some, if that's the last one, I'm willing to risk it. But outside of that,
Okay.
that might be tough. I mean, Falcons 1,000-yard receiver. Do we want to go with the obvious one in Julio?
If you take Kyle Pitts, he's caught 1,000. It'd probably
In a
be less
season?
common. Yeah.
When did Kyle Pitts catch 1,000 yards in a season?
His rookie year when he didn't catch a touchdown.
Bro, the rookie record was like 890 something. I don't trust that.
I thought he went for 1,000. Julio's the easy one. You could go Roddy White if you want to be more.
All right, we'll go Roddy just because I want to try to spell that. Okay, got it.
Very hard.
21%.
It's more than I thought I was going to say it.
So Jags, Texans, there's got to be somebody, that cross divisions, that we're just not remembering or forgetting, or like, did Dan Arnold play for both? Who knows? Why did Dan Arnold just pop in my head?
The last time that we played this game, I had such a hard time remembering Desmond King. And I know he played for the Titans and he played for the Texans. Did he play for the Jags too?
I don't think so. He could have. He could have played for the Texans. But so for those, watching this or listening the next day, have 2 spots left. We are 7 for 7 so far, but we have Jags and Texans. Name a player that played for both, and Packers, Falcons. Name a player that played for both. And that's where we're at. Oh,
Yeah.
oh no. Here's another one. Packers, Falcons. Does Brett Favre count? It definitely does. Definitely does. His first pass was a pass to himself. I didn't want to trust.
Falcons?
That's what team had drafted him.
See, I didn't know that.
76% of people did. Hey, I thought that would be a. So now we just have the Jags and the Texans. Dang, the 3 one that I did are the highest percentage. I'm so sorry, but I am going to look after the show and see if Kevin King would have made that list. But Jags, Texans.
Okay, so let me help you feel a little bit better. Comments say, looked up Jags, Texans, nearly impossible in my opinion. Let me know if you want a hint. Kempy's the real MVP on this one.
No, I appreciate that. Jags, Texans. Jags, Texans. I feel like it's going to be I'm sure there's offensive linemen, but
yeah,
I feel like there might be like a defensive end, like a Marcel Darius, maybe. But that's Whitney Merciless. No, he didn't play for both. George, whenever you want to chime in here, feel free.
I am so lost. It's a great time.
Like, I feel like there's also like, one wide receiver that played for both at one point.
Trying to think of other.
Where was he a Dolphin?
Who?
Arian Foster?
Yeah, I don't think Arian Foster went to Jacksonville.
I didn't think so either. I knew he played in Florida, but I don't think it was Jacksonville.
No, there was other running backs that I'm thinking of that I think would have been the Dolphins instead of the Jags.
Did James Robinson ever go to?
I don't know if he went to Houston.
Ooh. And did he ever play?
I think that's probably the bigger question. There's probably a better chance he went to Houston and didn't play.
But like that
seems like too obvious of a name, knowing that this is nearly impossible.
From maybe not, maybe. All right, I'm gonna give it 60 more seconds before I ask for a hint from the audience.
We'll have to ask the producer in the comments. My gosh.
Yeah, because this is
running backs that played for the Texans.
What about Dari Ugunwable, like that one running back?
Dare Ugunbwale, that should be it.
Okay, now
let's type in Dare.
This guy?
Yeah.
That we're going with?
I'm going with it.
Look at us go. Didn't even need a hint from the crowd. Let's check out what his rarity was.
Oh, it's not going to show us.
AJ Bouye. That was the big.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was the big name that people that we should have remembered. But shout out to us for
28% for that. Yeah, if you scroll further down, it should show you our rarity score because it's less than 28%. 27.
Yeah. So we. Oh,
that's not bad. That's probably one of the better ones that we've done.
But shout out to us for getting that one. All right, one last quick game in honor of the Super Bowl. We'll do a Sporkle. We have 10 minutes on the timer. See if we can do it quicker. This is Sporkle is just a quiz game. Kempy also throws in new head coach Aaron Glenn, Carlos Hyde. So Carlos Hyde would have been good. So we were on the right path to running back.
Yeah, I figured there was a running back crossover, and then you came up with Dario Ugunbwale, which is a good one.
But we're going to do this last game, and it is Super Bowl winners, and we have to match it to the year.
So. I am going to be so in trouble after we get past like 2000.
Okay.
Can we play it in reverse?
We can play it in reverse, but we're going to get the first two.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, Super Bowl 1, Packers. Super Bowl 2, Packers. Super Bowl 3,
49ers.
Jets.
Super
Bowl 4, Chiefs. Okay, let's go to 20. Oh, no. Oh, just me. My tab switched. The screen did not. That's good. We're going to go to 2024.
Cool. Chiefs, and then Chiefs again.
Hang on, because it's going to jump every time. How far back can you go?
Start with 2001.
2001. Okay.
I believe that should have been Patriots.
I don't know how to spell that word. Did I spell that right?
Yeah, you did.
Okay.
Does it go by the year the Super Bowl was played in? That'd be 2002 then.
Yes. Patriots.
Okay.
So this is here. Is this Ravens then? Or are they technically the not? Because didn't they win in 2000?
So it would have been 2001 then.
Okay.
Okay. There we go. So the Patriots had a break in here. This was the other almost three-peat.
Yeah, so the Patriots
This is the one I didn't know. The Patriots won in 2004.
Is that when they beat the Eagles?
Yeah, it's really throwing me off.
It being in the year that it was played in, not the season.
Yeah.
Should have looked at this quiz a little bit closer.
Yeah.
But, all right, we can keep going here. So that would mean this is the Packers. Know that one. And then Oh my goodness.
Just want to let you know I'm also getting text messages on this one for these help. So didn't realize it till now. I had an AJ Hawk in there actually. So anyway, we're distracted.
For the Immaculate Grid?
Yeah,
Where did he play for the Falcons?
I guess so.
I thought it was Green Bay and Cincinnati. I didn't
Yeah,
realize he played anywhere else. All right. But here we'll do this one. We know it's the Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
This one we know is the Rams. This one is the Bucks.
Mm-hmm.
This one is the Chiefs. This one is. When did the Eagles win?
18. It would be 18. It was technically 2017, but they played it in 18.
Eagles. So then this is Pats.
Yep.
This is Pats.
That one's Pats.
Okay.
50.
Super Bowl 50. Is that Ravens?
No. Ravens would have been 20, either 13 or 14. There we go.
Ravens.
There's another Patriots in there somewhere, but it's not 16.
Yeah, it's up here somewhere. Maybe this one.
And then there's Steelers on that one.
Yes, I remember the Steelers beating the Seahawks in Super Bowl XL. Then we are so bad at this.
Yeah, we are.
Who picked this quiz?
You, actually.
In here somewhere. Is it this one? Is this the Broncos?
No, it'd be the one after that. It would be 50. There we go.
Which means
Seahawks.
I don't know why I typed Seattle. They must be the year before. Yeah, they won in
the Ravens.
Seahawks.
There we go. Between the Seahawks and the Broncos, was that another Patriots?
No, Patriots. We have all 6 of the Patriots.
Yeah, you're right.
Right?
No, there were 7.
No, Brady has 7 because he won one with the Bucks. Patriots have 6.
My bad.
You're
okay,
good.
So we have all the Patriots.
So is this Steelers? Is this Steelers?
Oh, that's
Cardinals?
Falcons.
Falcons didn't win.
No, you're right. They lost to the Patriots. Never mind.
Maybe we don't have 6. Maybe I can't count. You're right. I couldn't count. Is this
I think Saints would have been 2010.
Yeah. Saints.
Colts should have been 2008 or 9. Okay, that's definitely 7.
Bro. Okay, the Colts finally won a Super Bowl. They beat the Bears. Hallelujah. So
there's some NFC teams in here, I think, that we're missing out on.
Yeah. There's definitely some who won the year after the Packers? Giants. They beat the Patriots.
Yes, so that means that there's a Giants in 2008, I think, too.
2008, yep.
So there's only been a couple of different AFC teams.
This whole thing where it's not the year is definitely throwing me for a loop.
Yeah, exactly. 1995 is Cowboys. Then it's 94.
Sure about that?
Nope, it's 94 then.
So that means this is Cowboys.
Nice.
Because they did the 3 and the 4 year thing. Don't ask me why that just popped in my head. I have no idea why. Super Bowl 5 winner was the Baltimore Colts. This one, is this one Steelers too? Yeah. All right, look, if we can get the 2003 and 2001, I would feel good.
That we completed a whole side of the board.
That and everyone from the year I was born on.
Yeah.
No.
So the Panthers made it to the Super Bowl that year, but I don't think they won one.
They didn't.
Who did they play against? That was the start of the stretch that I thought it was only Brady, Roethlisberger, and Manning. It might have been the year after that started that.
It's probably the year after that.
So it kind of opens up to, it's an AFC team. And it's not the Ravens.
How do you know it's an AFC team?
Because I'm 99% sure it was the Panthers in the Super Bowl that year and they didn't win.
The Panthers lost to the Patriots in year 2003, played 2000.
That's so it's the year again throwing me off.
Yeah. So it was that year in between. So 2002. Oh man. When was the this did I try Rams already? That's not the Tyson game. Was that in the 90s? 88?
What are you trying to find?
The Titans game that they lost by
I thought that was 2000.
Oh, you're right. Okay.
Yeah.
I forgot.
You already have that.
That's why I was like, I didn't think it was this far back.
It was not.
All right, we got 50 seconds to complete the one side of the board. 2002
on the booth. Feel free to.
2002 Super Bowl. All right, it's not like the 49ers or something like that. Did we try the Steelers here?
We did.
2002. Wasn't that team? Did we get the Saints Super Bowl in here? We did. That was 2010.
Did. Yeah, it was a lot later. Yeah. Pause. I've got nothing.
I'm so irritated right now. I'm so irritated. You know why I'm irritated? I literally looked at a graphic today of all the Super Bowl winners.
He tried to study for this and still couldn't get it.
The Buccaneers, the John Gruden versus the Raiders. But should have known. Should have known. Next time we'll get it. But hopefully that was more enjoyable than the Pro Bowl games, or maybe you're watching Joe Burrow light it up right now. I don't know what happens. Now that they finish them on Sunday, that's when they play flag football, whatever the Pro Bowl things is. But George, game night. Thought it went good. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it too. If you were, playing along, if you're watching this, we're going to do that in the off season as well. Get you guys involved as much as possible. Anything else you want to talk about before we go a full weekend without legit football?
Yeah, without legit football, we do have the flag football game that is it's all right. I'll just tease Monday because we have something really cool that we've done in the past that's coming back. There's your hint. That I think will be really, it's always a cool exercise. It's something I love doing. So you're not going to want to miss it. A little bit of foresight, maybe looking ahead.
I mean, it sounds like a great time. Sitting here, I'm like, what does this dude talk about? And it clicked. I was like, oh yeah, I think it'd be a great show. And maybe talking fantasy football, maybe talking NFL football, talking all these good things like we do here on the Couch GMs podcast. Make sure you give us a follow on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X, TikTok, all those good places. I'm Cody Roadcap. That's George Kurth. We're still talking football, and we're back next week, and we'll see you then.